when you look at people who have come up with new healing modalities, you know, the
Yeah.
person who created Reiki and the person who's come up with homeopathy and, you know,
Yeah.
all of these things,
Yeah.
they've come out of a personal crisis for a great extent. You know, they've ended up in a situation where they've had to come up with their own cure. And out of that comes a whole new way of healing. So in that way it makes sense if you're going to go on and be a healer. But what is also very common among people who are on the edge of this truth movement, it's the same thing. You know, whether it's David Icke riddled with arthritis or yourself, you've had your own health issues.
Yeah.
There are other people that I can think of and but won't name who are very, very, have either gone through and come out the other side of extreme physical pain, disability, and that scares some of us, thinking, my God, am I going to have to go through that to that extent in order to get to the other side? Or are these people kind of carrying the load for the masses in general? And I think it's a bit of that also, isn't it?
Yeah, people they're carrying the load. And also there are some people who don't have any physical ailments, but that's not to say they carried the load in the lifetime before, and we had an easier ride the lifetime before.
Okay.
So what a lot of people tend to do is just look at it now, and you've got to look at it as a whole. And you know, we may have gone through some horrific and horrendous experiences previously, and so we don't have it as bad as some people have it today. But we may have it, when we do, have it worse than others that we know of. But it's becoming more apparent that there's not many people out there who have got a free ride. Very few and far between. Yeah. Most of us are carrying a lot of pain and a lot of ailments, and these energetic patterns express themselves in all sorts of ways, in shapes and forms. So it's not one will cure all. It's basically just understanding your journey and your your contracts and what you are. You're an ambassador of life and who you represent here, and you don't have to know that either. It's just embrace the fact that you are carrying the load and embrace the fact that you are a hero. You know, and you've got to give yourself a pat on the back, because charity starts at home. You just have to. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty and being proud of who you are without the pride. You know, if you don't love yourself and honour yourself and acknowledge yourself, then how do you expect others to?
Of course. You've mentioned Project Genesis,
yeah.
And I know that this ties in with the GLF and whatever, but people who maybe haven't looked at enough of your stuff yet, just know the term Project Genesis. Can you kind of give us a roundup of what Project Genesis is?
Wow. Okay. How long have we got?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Project Genesis is the re-terraforming of Mars to a point where humans can habitat that planet once again on a comfortable level. Now, the reason they're doing that is because the extraterrestrial faction that is on Mars is not just on Mars, but is a part of a much greater empire. They want to try and create an environment where they can take as many Earth humans onto Mars as possible when things get really bad here really soon. And it has to do with the fact that when you are created, the body that we are in is for this reality, for this planet and this reality. So it has to do with the vibrational patterns or templates of the manifestation of our bodies in the first place. So to remove us from this planet, like I've gone, when I've travelled onto a ship, the moment you're in that ship, you're in a different vibrational reality. And so even being transferred into the ship alters the vibrations of your molecules and your cellular structures and what have you. But then to be taken to another world, when you're standing on the other world, you feel different because the very vibration of that world is different to Earth's vibration on an energetic sense. And so when I'd come back, it would take me quite a long time to recover, days and days. because I would need to then recalibrate, even though the beams that take you, sometimes they try to recalibrate you before you get put back, it still does affect you quite a bit. So for an Earth human to be taken off-world and be taken to a planet like Mars, it has its own unique vibration. And so things need to be set up, like there's an atmosphere that's on Mars again now, which there wasn't before. People go, oh, that just sounds totally crazy. Well, you know, the probes they send there are only sent there to look at mineral compounds and not bioorganic compounds. So anyway, the fact is that there is at least 1 million Earth humans that are living there now who have gone there already. And this
voluntarily?
Most. Some not. And it has to do with finding a safe haven locally, because, as I said before, vibrationally, to go to another solar system, our solar system has its own vibration. So if you get taken to another star system, not only is the planet different, but the whole star system you're in is different. So you've got a double whammy happening there. So for that particular faction or that arm of the intergalactic cabal, who have been allotted a certain amount of humans that they can continue to have rule over by their overlords, which goes intergalactic and beyond, the level of technology they have only allows them to keep them within the solar system. Mm-hmm. They don't quite yet have the ability to alter realities to the extent where they can take humans into other star systems. They'll struggle with that. Like they have some technology which create holographic realities, so they'll create fake realities with the vibrational patterns as close as they can, calibrated as close as they can to our originating patterns here. But because everything's so fluid and everything's changing so fast, the people that end up going into these holographic realities are going to find it very, very difficult. It's going to hurt. Then they'll get very ill. And I don't think they're going to last very long, personally.
You said before that, in our last talk, that 3 and 4D will cease to exist. So I just need to clarify a couple of things.
Yeah.
We live in a solar system, and all of our planets, including our sun, are in 3D. Mm. So when you say 3 and 4D will cease to exist, are you talking specifically about the Earth, and
yes.
everything else in our solar system will stay as is?
Yes.
Otherwise it's
just
project
the Earth,
is complete
just the Earth domain. Yeah, a lot of people have been confused about that, and I'm sorry I may not have cleared that up at that point in time. It just means 3 and 4D will cease to exist in this reality. Just as you're ascending here, this part of you, as we are ascending, we are integrating, we're pulling up our 3 and 4Ds, and we're transmuting them into a higher state of being. Same with Mother Earth. The 3 and 4D reality will cease to exist because it's being transmuted. And
the other planets are relatively unchanged.
They'll go through some changes, but nowhere near to the extent that this planet is changing.
Okay. So for people who die between now and say December 2012, or those who have recently passed, who are still in the cycle of reincarnation, will they reincarnate into a 3D reality on Mars, or what's their story from now on if there's not going to be an Earth 3D to reincarnate on?
Well, it depends on their journey. Some will pass over and go to the 5th dimension. Some already have. I've already been in contact with beings who have done this, and when I've gone to the 5th dimension, I've seen them there, and they have passed over and already gone back to the 5th. Because remember, we took the journey down from the 5th down into the lower domains, and only through the Earth Avenue were beings able to come out. That's no longer just the case. There's other planetary systems that are now being set up because this, for want of a better term, project, if you want to put it that way. Some people term it as experiment. I don't like that because it really devalues what's going on here. But this process that we've gone through here has been so successful, and it was always going to succeed. It was never not going to succeed, even though some, want to think different about that. That other planetary systems are now being set up, and a lot of beings will be taken by entities to these planetary systems, and others will incarnate onto them, and they will go through the same processes that Mother Earth has gone through. So instead of just one planetary system allowing beings to incarnate onto to find a rebalance within themselves to pop out of the lower domains of the universe, now there'll be a whole lot of others all over the place that are being set up. And there's actually and I've run into some of the people who are here, who are the incarnations of those planets, and they are observing what's going on here because they're the ones taking on the responsibility next.
Wow.
Yeah. Because remember, we're all planets, we're all stars, we're all galaxies.
Yeah.
So a lot of those beings are here who are actually learning the process from having an incarnation on Mother Earth. So they get to see it from the inside and experience it from the inside themselves.
When you talk like this, yeah, I know, I'm having this visual, which I guess there's an analogy forming in my head, which is, here I am.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining that all of the cells in my body are beings.
Yeah, they are individual beings unto themselves. Yeah.
Unto themselves.
Yeah.
Who we're all participating in this journey together in order for them to experience the reality of in there.
Yeah.
And I have a grander perception, I guess.
Mm.
So that's the image that keeps flashing in my head.